Welcome to the bargain bin. Shiver me timbers. Jamie and I, Pirate Jonny, have fished up a good one for you this evening.
Arr, we had to fish deep, go out into the deep waters.
You roared like a lion.
Arr, I'm a lion pirate.
That's going to sound great in the listeners' ears.
I fish for lionfish and great deals on games.
I know I introduced this idea, but I'm fairly certain that pirates don't fish.
They fish for loot, matey.
Yeah, and you're going to be able to preserve your loot because this is Bargain Bin, a video game podcast where we bring you games under $15 each week that we review, and we tell you if they're good or bad, and we give our own personal endorsements. My name's Jonny, Pirate Jonny, and this is my first mate, Jamie, or my co-captain, I should say.
Or just the captain.
All right, that's Jamie.
Just gonna let that one slide, huh?
Jamie, go ahead and introduce our game for this week.
Well, as the captain, our game for this week is Uni Duni. The quick...
Spell it.
Uniduni.
Love it.
Which last week, Jonny seemed to think that meant something. I still haven't been able to get the hang of it.
I'm fairly certain I wasn't the one to introduce that idea. I just wanted to make sure that they could type it in, you know.
I see.
But they will
But the
be...
you and I does seem like a cute little co-op thing going on. You and I.
There you go.
Doing this game together.
Doesn't that seem... Anyway, go ahead and introduce the game. We're already getting sidetracked.
Okay, well, the quick little Steam description for this game is... Inspired by the classics, Uni Duni is a light-hearted puzzle platformer adventure which celebrates the bonds of friendship. So cute. Invite a friend to work together across handcrafted levels or challenge yourself and prove your skills, which I think is meant to mean the single-player version. So this is a game, as it said, seems pretty intended to be a co-op game. That's how Jonny and I played it. We played it together, cooperating together sometimes. Most of the time we tried. Developed by Klopp's Game Studio, which is supposedly a group of university students from Brazil who founded the group in 2013. So I hope they're not still university students. Although I do know some people stay in university for over 10 years.
And do you judge those people, Jamie?
Not at all.
Oh.
You know, stay in school, kids.
There you go.
That's what they say.
That's what it means, too. It means stay in college specifically for 14 years.
Hey, if you stay in school, you don't have to start paying your student debt.
Is that how it works?
Until you die.
Okay.
I did meet someone once who was just like, yeah, I just keep taking college classes so I don't have to pay my student debt yet. And they seem,
somewhat avoidant.
Anyways, so this game was released on December 9th. It is priced at $11.99. It is currently, at this moment in time, on discount for $9.59. The game studio does seem to have another game from about 2023, so this is not their first game. And yeah, those I think are the basics. Jonny, we can kind of dive in a bit more about like the actual gameplay and style of this game and maybe even our opinions.
Of course, yeah, we can try. I mean, opinions, that's asking a lot, but...
I know. I really struggle to think for myself a lot of the time.
I mean, especially with the internet, Jamie.
I know.
The internet is such a negative place, and they're trying to co-opt our minds.
Yeah, I mean, actually right now, I'm not saying anything that I'm thinking of myself. I'm reading off of a script that AI is giving me.
There's a free service on the internet, and if you sign up for that free service, guess what? You're the product. Ever think of that?
I think you just broke my brain.
Social media. Ever think of that?
Okay, so Uni Duni. It was a cute game. We had a great time. I think. I had a great time. It was the first game, actually, that we've played together. But you've played more co-op games than I have, because you like to play with your friend. Shout out Christian Boxley. Not sure if you're listening to this.
I doubt it.
Maybe you will on this episode after I tell you got a shout out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as far as the value goes, I thought that this game was super worth it. It was like the most we've laughed playing a game together, I feel like, ever. I mean, we don't play that many games together, but it's the most I've heard each of us laugh in a long time, which was refreshing. And
yeah, I'm a sucker for just silly deaths where, you know, you kind of die in a stupid, silly way. And there was a lot of that.
Yeah, I think this game really knows what it's going for, as far as like, it's cute. The aesthetic is pretty much on point across the board. And you have these simple objectives in each level. And you kind of can get like a medal up for each one. So one is like collecting all of the berries in each level. You get a medal for that. Going under a time target, you get a medal for that. And going under a number of deaths that is like set as a goal, you get a medal for that. And if you get all 3, you get a gold. If you get 2, you get a silver. And if you get 1, you get a bronze. So we were getting the berries every time, but the timing and the deaths often eluded us.
Yeah, it was, I mean, the standards for getting a gold are pretty high. Like,
Yeah.
you might have to retry a level several times to get a gold on them and really have your cooperation fine-tuned. So, I mean, maybe in some regard, I feel like it was kind of like a little sad that it was so hard to get a gold, but at the same time, the game itself is pretty short. Like, we got through the whole game in 2 sessions. I don't know how long we were playing, like probably over an hour.
It was about 3 hours total.
Okay, so about 3 hours. So maybe, I would imagine maybe that's why they made the getting the gold so much harder, is so that there's some incentive to want to go back and replay some of the levels and try to perfect your cooperation with your friend.
Yeah, and we did manage to get at least 1 gold in each little world.
Woo!
So yeah, I
Beat
mean,
that.
Yeah, a little bit. Just going back to the start about like what this game is. Each player controls a little tiny person on the screen that can just jump. It's like a classic platformer. Like, you can move around and you can jump. One's a little cute pink thing, a little pink blop, and one's a little green blop.
It's a very like pixelated graphic, so yeah.
It kind of looks like a Kirby game almost, like a 16-bit Kirby game, is how I would kind of give the comparison, as far as like vibrant colors, kind of this cute world. Like, even for a lot of the game, you have like skull masks on because an evil person comes and ambushes you and puts them on you, I guess, at the beginning. But it's still like very cute. You're collecting these berries. Kind of reminded me of like opening levels of Celeste, just because you're collecting the strawberries.
I was gonna say that.
But it's not nearly as challenging as Celeste, especially like the later half of Celeste. Although this game does ramp up the difficulty at times. Basically what you're doing is you're going through and trying to solve these puzzles, platforming puzzles that you might normally see with like one character, with both. So like some will force you to jump on top of one another, and then one player jumps and then the other one jumps after that player's in the air, so it kind of like can boost and get higher.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably like the most involved mechanic. I mean, the controls are very simple. You can really just walk around and jump. Yeah. And yeah, so the being able to stand on each other's head and jump off of each other is probably the most involved part. And then it's just the levels themselves then add things to interact with, like buttons or cannons or spikes that can kill you.
Yeah, definitely. So you're just kind of like trying to solve these puzzles with like, you press a button and a ball is released and you gotta like head the ball over to another platform, or you gotta jump on top of your friend, they boost you up and you can get a key for them to open the door. A lot of stuff like that, and it gets harder and harder. There are like 5 worlds. So there's like a forest world, and then that gets increasingly difficult and more ominous until you get to the final dungeon castle world that kind of is reminiscent of Bowser's Castle. And then there's 10 levels in each world for a total of 50 levels.
Yeah, and the levels themselves, I mean, I think most of them had a max, for getting gold, a max time limit of completing in a minute. I mean, some were like 30 seconds or something like that, a lot shorter. I feel like we are completing most of ours around 2 minutes or like under 2 minutes. Some took us a lot longer. So the levels go pretty quick, and it is like you kind of like your characters enter the level, sometimes together, sometimes split, and there's usually like an exit that you have to reach, sometimes like a gate in front of it, so you have to like collect a key and get to the exit. So it's really just about like using the mechanics to unlock your passageway to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of the mechanics. I think the art style for me was really nice. The music was really nice. I thought that like it all kind of held together in a very coherent manner. I think one of the ways that like we interacted with this game in the most joyful and also somewhat frustrating way was the boss fights. So I definitely want to dig into those. Those happen at the end of each kind of world. You face a world boss before you get to the main big bad at the end. But before we dive into that, just as far as like giving a rating or ranking of like the level design and kind of the world building and in all of the ones that aren't boss fights, I would say like almost A+. Like I had a great time, and I thought that like wow, the puzzles, some of them were challenging and some of the platforming was pretty challenging, especially toward the end. Like there was never a point where I felt super stuck, and especially playing with someone else, having two pairs of eyes on it could be really illuminating, which I loved.
Yeah, and you know, again, I haven't really played any other co-op games. I think there's a part of me that wonders how it would compare to some that are maybe more popular or just like been out for a while. I mean, we didn't really run into like any bugs or issues like that, so there's nothing really there that would get worked out over time. It did, yeah, I think it felt just kind of like a joyful experience to like do with someone else. Like I feel like if you were seeking out like a challenge or like solving puzzles and things like that, like that's not really what this game is going for. Like it really more so just set up a diverse set of levels that were fun and funny to go through with a friend, where you can laugh at each other for dying a lot and like try to work together or be at the mercy of your friend, teammate, life partner as they try to shoot you through a cannon through 2 blocks that are closing together at weird intervals. Like they're just a bunch of goofy mechanics that in dependency on each other that, yeah, like Jonny mentioned, we just found ourselves laughing a lot about.
Yeah, what it actually reminded me of is another experience I've been having a lot of recently as I try to keep in touch with my friends over on the other coast, playing games with them. Another shout out to Christian Boxley, my best friend Box. We play Spelunky 2 together pretty much weekly, and Jamie always hears, I know from the office, like screaming and like laughing and frustration. This Uniduni is nowhere near as punishing as, you know, the Spelunky series, but it did give me very similar vibes of like cute platforming challenges that like can go pretty wrong, and when they do go wrong, it's just as funny and joyful as when they go right a lot of the time. So I did like that tension.
Yeah, and I'm curious because, you know, that is what I've been thinking a lot in comparison is like, how do you feel like this experience compared to your sessions playing Spelunky? Because, I mean, it always sounds like y'all are having a great time, but I do also know Spelunky is known for not being an easy game.
Yeah, I mean, this game is, Uniduni is just like way more forgiving, right? So like you can die a bunch of times and you just restart at the top of the level. The main way that like Spelunky is less forgiving is you die and you go to like back to the beginning of the game. So that's the main difference. I mean, Spelunky's also like, I think, is a masterpiece, and I wouldn't call Uniduni that, but like if you're looking for a lower stakes way to maybe play with like a partner or a friend who's not like super into games, like me and Christian have both been playing games a while, and so we enjoy the challenge, but like I wouldn't recommend Spelunky 2 for someone who's just like trying to play casually. And so like I think Uniduni is way better fit for that. It's actually something I would recommend to someone like over the holidays. You have like a friend in town or a family member who's like interested in games but not like so adept at, you know, maybe all the controls or something. Like Uniduni is a great way, especially the first few worlds, to just be like, hey, there's this fun game, do you want to throw it on for an hour?
Yeah, and I would be curious, I mean, like both of us have played enough games where some of the mechanics or like, having to control where your character lands and the rhythm of it could be pretty challenging. So, I don't entirely know like how beginner friendly it is. Like, I think someone who hasn't ever really played games before, like, it's simple to move around and to jump. Like, that's all you have to do. So that's beginner friendly. But there is a lot of like coordination and rhythm and timing aspect that, could be a fun challenge for someone who's like wanting to get into games or just wanting to give it a go. But it could also be still frustrating for someone who hasn't had that practice or skill building before.
Sure. Certainly to beat it, you would need that. And yeah, like I said, even though, we're comparing it to a super challenging game, so it's not challenging relative to Spelunky 2, it is still really hard at the end, I would say. We died like 50 times on one level at the end.
Yeah. There were some levels that like we did very quickly and some that it took us a long time and a lot of deaths.
But anyway, Jamie, let's dig into those boss fights. So
yeah, because I think that was one of the few moments we had where we were like really just trying to grind through, and it sucked the joy out of us. We were like, we just got to do this. We got to finish it.
Yeah, definitely. So I call them fights. They're not really fights. Like, you're not like punching or jumping on something to do damage to it in these. It's kind of like each boss fight is a mini game. So the first is rock, paper, scissors. The second is, I believe that's the Simon one, like the music repetition.
I think volleyball was first.
Volleyball's second, I think.
Or sorry, second.
Yeah, so rock, paper, scissors. There's volleyball, which is kind of like, I've played some like mobile games like that where you're just jumping and trying to like head a ball over a net. And then there is basically the old school game Simon, where it's like beep, and then you go beep, and then beep, 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 and you kind of have to mirror the like musical notes and colors that are being played, but you do that across two people. We really struggle with that one. We can dig into it more. Then there's jumping rope. And then the last boss fight is like a mixture of all of the previous mini games.
Yeah. And I have so many thoughts going through my head right now because I feel like we had the most thoughts about the game regarding these boss battles.
Yeah. Like for me, it's like it would be just a completely like huge endorsement right off the bat if it was just like the platforming and the fun kind of joyful, like dying with a friend, succeeding with a friend, like enjoying a game in that way.
And maybe a little cheaper.
Yeah,
supporting developers, I guess.
That's where I come from. I thought it was well worth it. Like I thought it was really well put together. The boss fights, I just think were super uneven.
Yeah, between all of them and also compared to, I feel like, the levels.
Yes, definitely. So compared to the levels, I think it just like it didn't reward the same skills. So it felt somewhat jarring to go from these like pretty tight platforming levels into like what was a somewhat strange mini game that wasn't very well explained.
Yeah, and that's where I would really say that the game becomes not beginner friendly, because kind of like what you just said, if someone who isn't used to games has been building up the skills through each level, suddenly they get thrown one of these boss games where they just haven't been building those skills, whereas we were able to pull from our past experiences to get through those.
Yeah, and I just want to like treat each one as its own discrete instance and chime in as I go over it. Rock, paper, scissors involves you both players having to jump on a button to like lock in what symbol you're going to do, and the boss is saying like, I'm going to slice you, and then that's supposed to be somehow related to what you should pick, but I'm not sure Jamie or me really ever figured it. I certainly didn't.
Yeah,
Jamie maybe
the first time we were going through the battle, I was literally just picking random options.
Random ones.
I was like, rock, paper, scissors. Okay, you have no idea what you're supposed to do. Just random. And then I think that somehow like got us through it. Because yeah, later when we were battling the big bad boss, I think ultimately like what it ended up being was like, I'm going to slice you. So you're thinking like, okay, paper. So I should be scissors maybe. But then once you land on that, you're like, no, actually, I should be rock.
It was confusing. Basically, we don't need to belabor it past that. Then volleyball, I thought was really fun. We were kind of we were pretty inconsistent as a volleyball team.
Yeah,
I would
but
say.
my qualm with this one is that I feel like I don't know if they were using AI or whatever it would be. I feel like the opponent should have been harder for the volleyball one.
It's possible. I mean, toward the end, remember they doubled, and I think they got kind of better. But you're right. If you did just get the ball over the net, they usually lost.
You could tell the opponent was just like kind of moving around randomly.
Sure. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair criticism. And then the Simon one, the notes matching, we really struggled with. Just it was like so long. I feel like there were a lot of times, and you couldn't make one mistake.
Yeah, one mistake and you had to start over. Whereas the ones before that, you got like 3 mistakes or something like that.
Yeah, so maybe it is a lot more like Spelunky than we thought. One
Maybe
mistake
so.
and you got to start all over.
Yeah, and it was just like you're having to keep track of the buttons in the order that you need to press, but then you also need to know like if your friend is going first and like how many times they have to go before you go, but you don't want to pay too much attention to what their colors are because it might mix up what your colors are. And then you also have to like jump over the buttons and not accidentally press the wrong button as you're trying to jump over them. And I mean, really, it would have been a lot easier if you got even just one mistake, but you don't. So we really, that burnt us.
Yeah, so we tried a lot on that one, and we're so relieved when we got it. The next
and then immediately we're like, okay, we're done for the night.
Yeah, it was a little tiring. And then the next one is jumping rope, which I actually thought was like pretty fun, but definitely demanding.
Yes, that one was also very hard, but agreed, it was fun. Like the Simon one was hard and not fun.
Yeah.
And the jump rope was hard and fun.
Yeah, the jump roping one is kind of like a rhythm game where all you're doing is jumping, you're not moving at all, but the rope gets like faster and faster, so you're having to like time your jumps and time your time in the air. And it was like you get 2 mess ups before you lose, and you have to like beat the boss to like 80 jumps or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like 2 mess ups together, so you're both jumping, but you're controlling your own character still. So you're kind of like, you can be like jumping at different times, but if one of you gets hit by the rope, then you lose like one of your 2 failures.
Yeah, and the sound design was really cute and noticeable on that one because like you could tell when you were out of rhythm when it would be like one of the jump sounds, which is like whoop, would be like whoop, and then it would be like whoop whoop, and you'd be like, oh no.
And then the jump rope's going like
Yeah, that's some good Foley right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was one of those challenges, too, where, like, you're not blinking as you stare at the screen because you're afraid if you blink, you're going to mess up your rhythm. So you're staring at the screen. You're, like, pressing the button. You found your flow. Like, your eyesight's getting a little blurry. The jump rope is, like, starting to fade in with all the other colors. You see your opponent's jump rope, so they're making all of these, like, sinusoidal waves. I don't know if that's the right word. Sine waves. So it's really kind of a trippy experience, honestly. Like I might have gone to a whole other dimension while I was jumping that rope.
It was a memorable video game moment. I'll give Uni Duni that. That's probably what I'll remember the most out of any moment from. Yeah. So
I'll be having stress dreams about getting tangled up in a jump rope.
We really enjoyed that one, as you can tell, with mention of the stress dream. And then the final boss is just you're cycling through all those mini games again, and like there's a scorecard, so you have to beat that boss to a certain number of wins in each game, which we did by just a single point when we beat the game on our first try. But
we really should have done better. I mean, the rock, paper, scissors really got to us.
The rock, paper, scissors tripped us out to the point where like we weren't even putting in an answer at some points because I was so confused.
Yeah, and in this round, the Notes Simon game was like actually the easiest. Like they didn't get more complicated with the patterns, and like the win for each of the rounds in the main boss battle was basically just like one instance of it. So like you would just do like one Simon repetition, or you'd do the jump rope until the boss got tangled up, or you do one round of rock, paper, scissors. I think maybe just until you either got it or didn't. And then the volleyball would be like one serve of the volleyball.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you can probably tell from that discussion, fairly uneven with the boss battles. I thought there were some we liked and thought were, interesting, but overall, I would say they are kind of a net negative to the game.
Yeah.
Or at least not a positive.
Yeah. And like we had fun with some of them sometimes, but they did feel out of place and, like you said, like less dialed. They're just a lot more uneven and didn't really sync with the rest of the game. And I mean, on the like last boss battle too, like one of the first things you said when we realized it was just a repetition of all the other past games was that like that was just kind of like a big miss. Like, because I even was going into that, I was kind of all excited to see like what it was going to be, what they would have come up with. Yeah, and it felt, I think you had said it was like a cop-out for them to just cycle through the previous games.
Yeah, I mean, a smaller studio, probably not that well funded. Like, you could tell they were running up against restraints. And I mean, that's totally fair, but it is something to take into account as we're trying to be consumer advocates here as well. It's like, that's just something that's a part of the game. So if you're thinking about buying it, keep that in mind.
Yeah. And then the ending itself, I mean, you wouldn't really expect much.
The story overall is just kind of like, it's you come to this game for the platforming, not the story.
Yeah, you don't need the story, and there's really not much there. But I mean, the ending, like, I guess was cute, but like was also just kind of like
confusing.
Weird, and like they could have just done without it.
Yeah, I think like overall, the thing that was just like, there were elements of this game where I was like, these developers have a clear vision. They know exactly what they're doing, and that made some of the moments that pretty much come throughout the game of like unevenness all the more confusing, because it seems almost like a scope issue where it's not like they needed to add more to necessarily make it a like really nearly perfect product. They just needed to like edit some of it as far as like just taking some parts out or like restructuring some parts. That said, as far on the boss battle front, I do want to mention that like the sprites for the bosses and like the art throughout the game is really well done. This like gorgeous pixel art, and during the credits, there's like this cute like cutscene of them like all marching together, which I thought really put a cherry on top.
Yeah, the art is really cute. Yeah, and I think like regarding the story aspect, like I guess I just kind of think about like what makes a good game great, and I think of Celeste, which, you know, you can kind of like draw inspiration from or like see the inspiration in this game, similarities. And like, I feel like the story in Celeste is like so beautiful and well done and well thought out. And like, I don't feel like I remember anything feeling distinctly out of place. So I think that's something where like this game by no means like reaches that level. And like the story, in fact, feels kind of like off at times. I mean, like we said, the ending's kind of confusing. At one point we're like, are we done? Like, what is this talking about? Is there more game? But like we had gotten like the Steam award that we had like completed the game. So there's like confusion there and stuff like that. And it's like, it seemed like it wanted to have more of a story, but didn't really. Something about emotions, but even that was a little weird. Yeah. So thinking about what makes a good game great, like I think that's where this game isn't going to reach that great level. But you know, like we said, it's like a fun co-op game, and like if that's what you're going for, that it's a great option for that.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, like we've compared it to two of like the greatest games of all time, and like
Right.
Spelunky 2 and Celeste, and certainly if you're talking about platformers, so Uniduni does not nearly live up to those two, but it is a super solid game. And I do want to drill down on what you were talking about as far as the co-op aspect of it. That's something that we've kind of just touched on at the beginning, but I do want to make clear, like, it is a great game for a couple to play, for a group of friends to play in couch co-op, and there aren't a lot of games that do that well these days, particularly at this price point, like around $10, and you get 3 to 5 hours of a really fun experience with a friend. Like, that's awesome. And I do think there's even like a fun kind of competitive element to trying to get the gold medals that Jamie and me didn't tap into as much, where you can kind of like plan out your movements and like maybe even map them out on paper or like talk through each level as you go through it. And I think that could be really fun too. So I just want to put that in a major like pro category, in that like a cheap, well-designed co-op game I love that it's out there. I love that it exists. And on the flip side of that, I don't think it would be that fun to play on your own. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, which there is. I mean, they do outline that you can play it as a single person, and you basically then are just controlling each character on your own. Like, I think you can do it on one controller, and just like each of the joysticks controls each of the little guys, and so it's like would be more of a challenging game in that regard, coordinating between the two. But yeah, I agree. I don't think I would want to play it on my own. And I think that kind of circles back to like I didn't find myself excited to play the game really like for the game, but I found myself excited to play the game for like getting to do it with you, Jonny. So yeah, I think it's like one of those games where it's like a great way to spend time with someone, and like you would get it because you're looking forward to doing an activity with a friend and playing a game with a friend, not necessarily that you would be like excited particularly to play this specific game.
Honestly, I feel that way about a lot of co-op games. Like Split Fiction is absolute hot garbage, and I would not have enjoyed it without playing it with a friend. But like playing it with a friend is fun because you get to like chat and be like, oh, this is so silly or funny, or this is drawing from this game or whatever. So I'm not sure that that's super unique among co-op oriented experiences. And I just mentioned Split Fiction as an example because there is a really expensive game, AAA title, that's gotten so much buzz, and I would say like Uniduni is as good or better in my opinion at like creating those funny moments and creating that joy. It is shorter, but hey, that's what you get with a smaller game.
And basically that's why you're here listening to Bargain Bin, is so that we can tell you that AAA game, not worth it. Come to us. Come to Uniduni. Spend your money at the Bargain Bin.
I mean, it's not necessarily not worth it. Like, I enjoyed Split Fiction a lot. It's just like, if I was playing it on my own, I would not finish, is what I meant.
And it's not a bargain.
Yeah, certainly not a bargain. And it proves that I can enjoy hot garbage. Jamie, should we move on to our endorsements section?
I think so.
I'll go first. I would say it's a tad close, but I'm pretty clearly in the endorse section, or the endorse category, I would say, for this one. I really enjoyed the art. I thought the music was great, the platforming was good, and the boss fights, I could tolerate them enough, particularly when playing with my wonderful life partner and best friend. So I really enjoyed playing with you. I would say if you have someone to play games with, this is a slam dunk, especially at its price point, so I would endorse it.
Yeah, I think I would endorse it too. With all the caveats mentioned before of like, you know, it's a great game to play with a friend. It's not a great game. It's a good game.
Good game.
We had fun. We laughed a lot. Good memories is a great way to like spend some quality time together, which can be difficult to do in this day and age.
Where the internet's trying to take over your brain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I would endorse this game.
Great. That's great to hear, Jamie. What about binnable moments? What kind of stuff have you been up to this week outside of Uniduni? I'll start because I can see that you're buffering. A little bit of a computer/games reference there for all the listeners. I have been playing with Jamie and our housemate Bert Sunderfolk, which is a grid-based battling RPG, kind of in the D&D kind of style, where you play these cute animals and you have like moves and you can build your deck of moves. It's very much like Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, but just in video game format, and you can use your phone as a controller. So it's great. We were just hooking the Steam Deck up to the TV and then using our phones as controllers, and that's been fun. We've played probably around 3 hours of the game, and it's been good so far. Again, not great, and we haven't played that much of it, but enjoyed it. I also started watching The Chair Company, and that stressed me the hell out. Thanks, Tim Robinson.
I don't know why you were watching that.
Especially during this time. There's stress for other reasons, and the weather's pretty bad here in Seattle, so I should probably watch a happier show.
Yeah, just something not with Tim Robinson, who is inherently stressful and anxiety producing.
But also funny.
Yeah. I mean, the Sunderfolk game is a very good binnable moment. I've been a part of that too, so I think that would also be on mine. I was really intrigued by the phone controller aspect. I'm kind of interested to see if other games will adopt that. I feel like it really opens up a lot of different possibilities, especially for like a really involved game, because it just allows you to migrate more of the mechanics onto like a different screen. And I feel like particularly was very useful for a co-op game. So that's a bit of a digression, not related to the podcast, but something that really intrigued me. Other binnable moments. I mean, that might just be it for me. Honestly, my brain has been kind of in a haze the past few days. I haven't been sleeping that great. So I think I've just been taking things like one day at a time, chugging along.
You watched those animes.
Did I? I'm
Black
always
Clover.
watching some animes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll just throw this out here now. I'm hoping to, maybe put up some like YouTube videos at some point of the games we're playing on this pod. So my brain's been on that, but I haven't done anything with that yet. But maybe just stay tuned, because that could be on the horizon.
Watch this space. You're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, exactly.
By telling the two listeners.
Yeah, I have to do it.
Amazing. Jamie, what game are we playing next week?
Oh, I forget the name of it.
I'll check for us right here. Next week, first of all, happy holidays, folks. We're right in Hanukkah time. Christmas is coming up. If you're a Kwanzaa celebrator.
I have my binnable moment.
If you're a Festivus. If you are a Candle Nights for all our Adventure Zone listeners, anything you celebrate, happy holidays. And we're going to be bringing a game to you next week. Go ahead, though, Jamie. What's your binnable moment?
My binnable moment that deserved the interruption that did not interrupt that quickly was that on Sunday night, for the first night of Hanukkah, you made a freaking delicious meal.
Thank you.
You want to explain it? Because it was like so oishi.
Oh, oishi, the Japanese word for delicious. Thank you. Well, I made latkes the proper way, which is a lot of work. You have to shred up potatoes, and then you put them in a hot water bath, 10 minutes, 3 times, and then you squeeze out all the moisture from the potatoes using a cheesecloth, and then you mix those with some grated onions, and then you make a batter out of that, and then you pan fry it, and the pan frying takes a little bit of time. Meanwhile, I also made a shredded beet salad, and I sauteed some chanterelle mushrooms in butter, and I made homemade applesauce as well, and all of that kind of went on top and around of the latkes, so it was a nice... Latkes are these like potato pancakes fried in oil, and I made donuts the night before, so we've been doing a good job celebrating Hanukkah, which you just fry a lot of stuff in oil and enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, and let me tell you, on Sunday, I was gone before 9 a.m. and probably got home like at 9 p.m. There's a little at-home moment in between of like just being out doing things. So I tell you, I got back home, I was exhausted, and when I was able to eat all that delicious food, it just like brought the life right back into my body and soul.
I'm so glad to hear that. That makes me happy, Jamie.
Now we can go back to talking about the game we'll play next time, but it was just an important binnable moment to appreciate and show my gratitude for.
Thank you. Next week, we're playing Clockwork Cleanup. And guess what?
It's free!
Free 99.
So free. All the reviews that are up right now were like, how do we donate to this developer? I can't believe it's free. Like, so supposedly like the developer just like wanted to have a game out there.
It's a holiday gift for people, and
Yeah.
it's our holiday gift to the listeners to go get this free game, play along with us, and we'll talk about it next week.
I am excited for this one. It was one of those games that I'm like, doesn't really feel like one. It's not one that I would ever play on my own, just like going through stuff. So I'm excited to see how it goes.
We'll give it a shot, and of course we'll let you know about it next week. Talk then.
Love y'all. Bye.
Soil Day Radio.
For a community of weirdos built on words. Find out more at soildayradio.com.